Welcome back to another one of my blue lining Tennessee trout videos. This time I'm going to walk through my setup, a 2-weight fly rod with the backing, the line, the leader, and the tippet. This is the gear I rely on for tiny wild Tennessee trout from narrow streams where the fish just barely fits in your hand. I've added plenty of photos that I've taken on these streams, plus diagrams and drawings included at the end of this video, along with the instructions on how to screenshot it, crop them, and print them for your own personal use. My setup is built for small streams with low, overhanging branches, dense brush, and a bunch of fallen logs always are in my way, and water barely wider than a sidewalk. There's rarely any room for a full cast. Most of the time I'm roll casting or flicking the leader under a branch or a log, and with about 20 feet being about the longest cast possible with this rig we're fixing to set up. A new 6-foot 2-weight rod is pretty hard to find in today's market, and even more so if you're looking for a good one that's used. And if you do come across one, don't hesitate, man. Grab it. The one I'm using and showing here, I've had for over 20 years, and it works great. The first step that we're taking is deciding on the best reel that to use to match your rod that we're fixing to put together. You'll want to size your reel to match the line weight. And in my case, what we're showing here, I'm using an Orvis Access Mid-Arbor 1 reel. It's specifically designed for 1, 2, and 3 pound rated lines. You need to decide whether to mount your reel for a right or left retrieve. Most come from the factory set for a left-hand retrieve, where you hold the rod in your right hand. And so just check the instructions, and they'll likely explain how to flip the bearing. Many reels have a one-way bearing that can be reversed inside the spool for a right-hand retrieve if you want to continuously cast with the left hand. Now let's mount your reel and load it with some backing. First, you need to know your spool's capacity, which you might find it in the instructions that come with your reel. If not, you can look it up online. Most manufacturers will keep that information for you. And in my case, my spool holds 75 yards. We're using a line that takes up 34 yards. That leaves you 41 yards of backing. The more backing you put on your spool, the better. It helps eliminate line memory over time. Every time you cast it, it'll get better. This way you can cast the line and it will lay straight on the water instead of loops from its manufactured memory from a brand new line. And we'll be using 20-pound Dicron backing material. We're going to secure the backing line with an arbor knot. It's basically a knot tied with another knot at the end to keep it from sliding through the first knot. And tighten it up, trim off the excess, and then start reeling in your backing. You need to load your spool from its bottom, just like in the photograph. So the line gives you space between your hand and the line while you're pulling or stripping it out. If you hook a fish that you're using a 5-pound reel and pull in a large one, the line could snap and catch your fingers. And that's why it's important to load your spool from the bottom as it's shown. Now let's talk about the line. The one we're going to put on this reel is special, and it's a bit hard to find. But all the lines follow a basic numbering system used pretty much worldwide. Every country has adopted this system of numbering for fly fishing lines. WF2F is what we'll be using. The WF stands for the weight forward. And in the diagram, you can see that the line is thicker at the end that comes out first. The 2 represents the weight, meaning it's designed for up to about a 2-pound fish. And the F means it floats, so the entire line will stay on the water surface from end to end. The weighted forward tapered end of the fly line is often colored differently in its thickest section. To make it easier to see out there on the water, it also lets you know when all of the weighted end of your line is out of the reel. The exact line that we'll be using is the Scientific Angler's Mastery brand, WF2F SBT, with SBT standing for short belly taper. It works great and better than a standard weight forward line, specific to what we're fixing to use it for. The WF2F SBT is American made, but surprisingly it's not easy to find in the US. While preparing this video, I searched for it just to be sure, and the only places I came across where it's sold was in Ireland and France. And I'm sure it's available in other countries also, but I stopped searching after I realized I couldn't track it down in the States, even though it is American made. They're just shipping it overseas where the main market for it is. It's time to connect your backing to your fly line and load it on your reel. This time we're using an all-bright knot. It's always a good idea to add some glue to the knot just for extra security. Let's move on to the leader. We're going to be using about 4 feet of it, cutting it down from its typical 9 feet. I'm going to use a tapered leader and match it to the line weight again. On the WF2F with the 7X tapered leader that we're using, you'll see there that it's rated about 2 pounds. And the fly line should have a glued loop on the end of it from the factory. With the tapered leader should already come with a factory loop. And it's easy to hook together, simple connection. Let's attach a tippet ring to your fishing rig at the end of the leader. As mentioned earlier, we're going to be cutting that leader down to just 4 feet. The small little rings typically come in 2 sizes, 1 millimeter and 2 millimeter. We're going to be using the 1 millimeter size, which is a standard size, and it's just as easy to find as a 2 millimeter. It's not something unusual. I keep mine with a key ring attached to the clip so I don't lose track of it. We're going to use a cinch knot to hook that ring on the end of that leader, and once we've got that ring on the end, we're going to roll the loose end of the leader onto the reel and then store the loose end in your spool's line clip. If you don't have a line clip built into your spool, there are adhesive ones available that stick right to it. You can store the loose end like I'm showing here. It basically is using a simple O-ring that applies a light pressure to hold it in place and prevent tangles with your gear in your bag or your box. I usually break my reel down completely when storing it, unless I'm traveling just a short distance between 2 fishing spots. Otherwise, I pack the spool away in a tackle box or my fishing vest, and this little clip saves you from a tangled mess. Well, we're almost finished. Now the last thing is to choose the correct size tippet line. And we're not going to attach it until we're at the stream side and we're ready to rig up a fly on the end. You need to match your tippet line again, and you can always size up. If you want to attach a 5-pound tippet to the end of a 2-pound leader, that's fine. It's going to work just fine. But for a good presentation to those finicky fish looking through crystal clear water at you, you don't want anything too heavy. and you want every chance to catch your fish, so I use the smallest tippet that I can. Well, now you've got a 2-weight rig ready for small fish in the backwoods streams of Tennessee. The main fish you're after are wild brook, rainbow, and browns, not stocked. And they're about hand sized, just like in the photos. A fish that will fit your hand is a good catch. And you'll have a blast chasing for these little trout in small, shallow streams that are only about 2 or 3 feet deep pools. And you can stand there and watch them rise up through the clear water to strike your fly. Thanks for watching. And if you'll stick around, you'll see the photographs I promised here at the end in the next few slides. The first slides are diagrams with the streams and creeks following. Each photograph will stay on the screen long enough for you to pause the video on that image. Once you've created and cropped your image, save it from the video to your phone or your computer. Open it in Photos, then send it to the printer. When the preview screen appears and the image isn't fully visible, scroll to the last option and select Shrink to Fit instead of Fill the Page. This will give you a nice boundary all the way around the image. All these pictures shown here at the end are photos I have taken myself on the streams I have personally fished.